My final project is on lighting color, circadian lighting design, and occupant wellness. While circadian lighting design is a relatively new concept, occupant wellness has long been at the heart of sustainable design. Recently, rating systems such as the WELL rating system are starting to recognize the importance of occupant comfort and well-being as central to sustainable design. Appropriate lighting design not only has the opportunity to reduce building energy, but as significantly, or perhaps more significantly, has the ability to improve occupant wellness while creating connections to natural and physiological cycles. In order to understand circadian lighting design, it is important to understand how light works. Light is emitted from the sun at all wavelengths. When light hits an object, a majority of it is absorbed. However, certain wavelengths are reflected off of surfaces. It's these reflected wavelengths which bounce off of objects and are received by our eyes. While the sun emits a wide range of energies, from gamma rays through radio waves, only a very small portion of these are visible to the human eye. This is the human visual range. Beyond that range is ultraviolet to the violet side and infrared to the red side. It has long been known that the human eye is comprised of cones which see color and rods which see in dim light but don't really recognize color. Ganglion cells are also well known, and they help translate the stimuli from rods and cones to the vision-producing centers of the brain. More recently, intrinsically photoreceptive ganglion cells have been discovered. These iPRGC cells are non-vision forming and connect to non-vision portions of the brain. So what do these cells in our eyes do if they don't help us see things? More and more we're seeing significant impacts of these intrinsically photoreceptive ganglion cells. They help regulate a circadian rhythm through a process called photoentrainment. They respond to brightness, which helps manage pupil reflex. And significantly, they regulate the endocrine system, suppressing melatonin secretion, regulating dopamine and GABA secretions, and affecting insulin release, among others. However, these iPRGC cells do not respond to lights in the same spectrums that our visual cells do. Here you see the purple line is the peak responsiveness of the iPRGC cells, while the green light is our visual sensing cells. You can see how this works across spectrums, from daylight, incandescent, fluorescent, halogen, cool white LED, and warm white LED bulbs. We typically think of light as colors, measured in kelvins, from candlelight, which is around 1,000 Kelvin, to daylight, which could be 10,000 Kelvin or more. Most interior lighting sits somewhere between 2,400 and 5,000 Kelvin. It is important to note that the color of the light in Kelvin does not directly relate to the spectrums of light emitted by that light. Here's an example of two 5,000 Kelvin lights, a compact fluorescent bulb and an LED bulb. You can see the distribution of light across the spectrum is significantly different in these two bulbs. It is important to remember that daylighting also plays a significant part in circadian lighting design. The more daylight we can introduce into a space, obviously, the better. Humans respond best to daylighting. Artificial lighting should be considered in addition to daylighting, and task lights can be used to provide more blue light into existing spaces. This is a case study of the ACC Care Center, which is a senior housing center with tunable lights. The Senior Center recognized the unique needs of seniors. The increased need for lights as you get older, your light perception decreases, the reduced comfort with glare, and a lighting design that needs to focus on the spectrum of the light, the intensity of the light, the length of exposure, and timing of the exposure. This project attempted to address these issues using tunable lights. You can see in the diagram that the lights had the ability to change color and also intensity at that all critical 450 nanometer range where the intrinsically photoreceptive ganglion cells are most sensitive. The abilities inherent in digital control systems and LED lights, the project was able to use the same lights to adjust the color throughout the day. So in patient rooms, for example, between 7 and 2, the lights were bluer, 6,000 Kelvin. Between 2 and 4, they came into more of a yellow range at 4,100 Kelvin. Between 6 and 8, they turned more red at 2,700 Kelvin. In this way, the light throughout the day more closely resembled the natural cycle of daylight. Doing this, they were able to reduce the lighting energy use by 65%. In addition, occupant health was greatly increased. Resident falls were decreased, primarily attributed to increased alertness. There was a 41% reduction in agitation, crying, and yelling behaviors in residents, and improved sleep patterns were recognized in residents almost across the board. General principles of circadian lighting design include generating a light cycle which most closely resembles the sun's natural cycle, ensuring full spectrum of light which as closely as possible mirrors a natural cycle. In this type of lighting design, we want blue lights during the day as these might help regulate blood sugar. Blue lights in the evening, however, are associated with increased depression and sleep problems, and for that reason, red lights are more appropriate in the evening. And it is very important to consider occupant patterns in lighting designs. For example, shift workers may benefit from different lighting patterns than a typical office worker. And in this way, lighting design can very much be a key to assisting in their occupant health. In conclusion, it's important to recognize that lighting is an evolving science, which recognizes the intrinsic needs of the human bodies. Humans have evolved in the presence of full spectrum natural light, which changes throughout a 24-hour cycle. Careful lighting design can help support health and natural circadian patterns, which are important to occupant health across many areas.